What is up, Robot Wars, BattleBots, and BuggleBots fans alike? Hardcore Kid here with a brand new episode of the Hardcore Podcast. Last week, we dropped the piano on Robot Wars Extreme Warriors, and now it's time to talk about the whole brand new season of BattleBots Season 4/Season 9. That's right, folks, BattleBots is back, and joining me, as always, I have my co-host, Otaku Nate,
who has just got back from Anime Next in Atlantic City. Unfortunately, I had to miss the premiere of BattleBots. I did catch the little bonus episode that they gave us.
That bonus episode is the Remars
the Remars special.
The Remars live event. We're going to be reviewing that as well, and that's going to be a Patreon exclusive review.
We will review it. We're just waiting to hear back from some potential guests.
Yeah.
Not going to say who.
Yes, it'll be a surprise, but yeah, so we're going to be reviewing episode 1 of the new series of BattleBots, and I'll say right now, after watching this episode, I'm definitely looking forward to the rest of this season.
As Jeremy Clarkson said on one of his DVDs, I thought it couldn't get any better, but then it did.
But it did get better. Yeah, and so the format, they've changed it up a little bit for this new season. Episodes are now 2 hours long instead of 1.
And let me tell you, those 2 hours, well, maybe it was because I was using a DVR, but they went by quick.
Yeah, I mean, I think there were some little points where it kind of dragged, but
nothing too bad.
No, not too bad. And I love how they're incorporating new segments, like interviews with some of the robot builders.
We'll get to those when they come up.
And also some testing videos.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, we're going to go through the fight card, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matches tonight.
Seven matches.
Yeah, and the bonus match, which is Marvin versus Gruff versus Gemini, that airs on the Science Channel edition of this episode. So when we do a review of episode 2 of BattleBots, we're going to be covering the bonus fight as well. So gotta get them all covered somehow. So yeah, I guess we might as well start talking about the matches. And the first match, it's Jameson Go's Sawblaze versus Victor Soto's Rotator.
I gotta say, I'm really digging the new look of Sawblaze, and I like that it now has interchangeable wedges. Like, I thought that they'd go out for, like, the little plow forks that they had in the preview picture, but now they have, like, a full-on scoop wedge this time around. Plus, I like their little rubber protectors that they have.
Yeah, little shock absorbers.
Yeah, they aren't entanglement devices, but what's the word I'm looking for? Something they can use to grind down the opposing spinners.
Grinder?
It's not that. It's like a buffer or something.
Yeah, something to that effect. Yeah, JMO's a real master when it comes to interchangeable weaponry. Like Silent Spring he can change his horizontal disc to a vertical spinner, and Sawblaze, he can make his bot not only just a dustpan bot, he can make it a wedge bot. And with the new vertical spinner attachment, he could make his bot a vertical spinner a la Endgame or Death Roll.
This fight though was very technical. We gotta talk about Rotator, though.
They were half a potato in this match.
Oh. Yeah,
dear. They looked like, what was the name of that orange bot that competed in the international match in Robot Wars Extreme?
Maximil, yeah. I was also gonna say Twister, like the Dutch robot, only their blade wasn't angled.
Yeah, Rotator was having some problems going into this match.
They broke their frame is what happened.
Broke the frame.
They were testing, gave out one hit, and their frame broke.
Yeah, so they had to go with the dreaded Wolverine teeth, which didn't work, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this match, this is your classic JMO match. You just get under them, push them into the wall, and just start taking the saw down and making some nice sparks.
Hey, they didn't get too far in with that saw as I would have liked it, but they got some good sparks in. Though I'm disappointed that they didn't put the flamethrower on the arm like they did last time.
Yeah, he's got it. It's like a shoulder.
It's mounted to the side. It's a shoulder-mounted flamethrower.
Yeah, but still a solid performance by JMO, and Sawblaze, J-Mo, I think, got a little bad luck when he got torn apart by Monsoon last year, but I think he's got a nice, good chance of getting far, I think, in this season.
I think this could be, a top 8 year for J-Mo, but it all depends on the luck of the draw.
Luck of the draw, the driving. Yeah, it's a solid bot, and I can't wait to see what happens. One last thing to note, and we got to thank J-Mo for this, but there's a gif of Victor Soto's annoyed face when Sawblaze is sawing into him. He's like, not again.
You can clearly tell he's not happy with the state his robot is in. I just hope that we don't see Rotator like this for the remainder of the series.
Yeah, because Rotator really came off as a surprise in the last season. Like, it started slow, but then as the season went on, and it started to get better and better and better, and sure enough, it ended up winning the giant bolt for most destructive robot and killed Ice Wave, so...
It's definitely on my prove it list for a reason this year.
Yeah, but Sawblaze did win the match by judges' decision, and I do have to give them credit. They were able to show a caption showing the point system they have now.
Yes, we got to talk about that. So,
yep. Damage is 3 points, and aggression and strategy are 2 points. So,
wonder where they got that criteria from.
Yeah. So, like last year, I think it was like aggression. Did they say last year aggression?
I don't think like points? they gave it any. They didn't exactly clarify like what how the point system worked. But
no, it's
nice to know that the point system this year is practically a best of 7 on the category.
Yeah. So we'll see how that comes off. But this was a unanimous decision. Like, Sawblaze just dominated.
Poor Rotator just couldn't do anything. Sawblaze, like, it actually started sawing into its Rotator's cooling fan.
Oof.
So it got it right on the vent.
Yeah, man, if it wasn't hot enough in that arena. Yeah, but Sawblaze gets the win, and next second match is a match that I was definitely looking forward to.
Me too.
It's Team Carbide from Robot Wars, bringing back their new version of Cobalt against SubZero.
And it's here that we get our Farouk moment of the night. His intro for SubZero, where he says, "If this was a grocery store, this bot would be in the frozen section. And how fitting, because when it beats you, it'll make you want to sit on the couch with a gallon of ice cream and watch in The Notebook." What? Farouk's a lonely guy. I gotta say, everybody... all the presenters have really upped their game this season.
Yeah.
Chris and Kenny were on fire tonight. Farouk. Oh, he's Farouk, man. We have nothing bad to say about the man.
Who's the girl interviewer? I forget her name. Jenny Taft, it is.
Oh, she was great. I mean, I wouldn't put her on the same level as someone like Angela Scanlon, but she did great in her role as pit reporter.
She's definitely better than, like, say, Carmen Electra.
Ugh. A board of wood would be a better presenter than Carmen Electra.
Yeah. So, I guess, what else is there to say? Presenters, we'll talk about the match, and I will say this, I do love when, I think it was Chris or Kenny, that they mentioned how Dave Molds is a champion in both UK and China, but doesn't mention the name of the events.
I wonder why.
Like, man, even King of Bots still showed footage from Robot Wars.
Come on, guys, this isn't the WWE. You guys can show footage from outside the company.
They should, yeah, well... So, good old Alex Horn, aka the Master of Wedge, got to drive SubZero for this match, and...
Oh, dear.
Like, right when the match was about to start...
Can I just say this?
Right when the match started, he looked terrified.
When I started watching this match, I did not know just exactly how Cobalt's blade was going to work. I was wondering, like, is it going to be a grinding disc, like a saw or something? Because it doesn't look like your traditional vertical spinner. It looks like an old circular saw from the old days of Robot Wars.
It's a roided out saw blade.
And then it started hitting SubZero, and my face turned into that of the surprised Patrick meme from SpongeBob. My jaw was practically on the floor. Like, at the end of the fight, I just went...
Yeah, you can't see his face right now, but he's... You look like you're about to eat that sandwich.
Holy shit! There was nothing left of SubZero.
Oh, yeah, like with Cobalt, I was a little skeptical too, because I thought the disc was too high off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just goes ahead and just rips SubZero a new arse
Serial
port. This was a beating.
Oh my goodness.
This was carbide levels of destruction here.
Oh my god, like, Cobalt's now one of my favorites to get the giant nut, just from this fight alone. Just the way it tore into SubZero, it tore off its side plates, it damaged the underbelly, just, yikes.
Yeah, I can understand why Alex was so nervous going into this match. Like, how well is this bot gonna do? Because we know what Dave Moulds and Sam Smith are capable of. What can this new version of Cobalt do to them?
Kenny Florian has been is now the post-match interviewer, and Chris Rose joked about how hey, we saw Rarity, we got to see Jameson go smile, and I say that's nothing. Try making Sam Smith smile.
Sam Smith, he's the Lance Storm of BattleBots. Yeah, Cobalt. This was just a phenomenal performance.
Oh my god!
I'm interested to see how well they do, and I think we might be getting Tombstone versus Cobalt at some point. Which, for many, including myself, that's a dream match. Calm down there, Billy. Yeah, because, but Cobalt is a robot that is capable of beating Tombstone. Like, if you have a nice solid wedge and a disc to go with it, you can just rip the pieces off of it.
The easiest way to confront Tombstone is to charge forth head on.
Yeah.
And because Cobalt's blade is so compact, it doesn't take long for it to spin up compared to Tombstone's massive blade, which has a longer spin-up time. So I think Cobalt, combined with a small turning circle, could potentially upset Tombstone.
Yeah, we'll see about that. But, yeah, Cobalt wins by murder-death kill, and SubZero, I'm disappointed because this looks good.
It looked good. I loved how it looked in the arena. It was low to the ground. Its wedge looked like it could get under Cobalt.
Yeah,
my god.
Turns out it didn't have enough wedge. Even though you had Alex Horn on the team, it still doesn't have enough wedge.
You can never have enough wedge.
So, yeah, this was a lot of fun, and speaking of fun, we come to our next match. It's the Kraken versus the Frog.
Squid versus Frog.
Yeah, like there were two big crushers on in this episode, and Kraken is one of them. And at long last, we finally get to see Kraken really get to work on this thing.
Hey, it held up pretty well. Ribot's disc, I did not expect it to be that powerful. Like, it looked like it was a freaking joke entry, but that machine is surprisingly strong.
Yeah. Ribot is built by the WPI guys who built Squishy, the beetle weight.
Oh boy, this robot certainly was squishy.
It's squished very nicely underneath those fangs.
There was bits of Ribot everywhere. I hope that wasn't the only rubber shell that they brought.
Well, if not, they'll probably have to go into the next round topless. Yeah, well, I'm sure they brought extras. You can't just go in there with one foam
It's
frog.
A fun little novelty. My only complaint about this fight, other than, it's a crusher fight, it's going to be very slow and methodical. I wish we saw more of that flamethrower from Kraken.
I didn't even realize they had a flamethrower until the very end.
Yeah, when come on. I guess they didn't want to set the whole fixture on fire because, 1, that's going to smell. 2, it's going to take a while to air out the arena. It's not a Vegas show where you have the benefit of good weather and an outdoor arena where you can air out the smell quickly.
Yeah, I can only imagine what it smelled like after this match.
Oof.
Burning foam.
It probably smells like my brother's hockey equipment bag. Believe me, I know.
I do wonder, how they go into actually repairing the teeth on Kraken, because I've actually seen Kraken up close, and the teeth I'm not sure how they're held on. I think they're welded in.
They're welded on.
Yeah, because there's like no screws hold them in. They're just like stuck on there.
They're welded on. All you really need to do is just hammer them back into place. And even though Kraken's teeth got a little bent, so it's now British Kraken. It didn't really seem to be a factor in how it used its crusher, but as Matt told us, the strongest that Kraken's crusher gets is when it's at the tippy top of the crushing arc, as opposed to other crushers that get stronger as they go downward.
Yeah.
This one's more of a pinner than a straight up pincer.
Yeah. And Kraken, it got very unlucky in the last season, but I think this season they've got a win under their belt. I think they'll have a decent little run, depending on the draw.
Well, they've already won as many fights as they did last year.
Yeah. But I hope to see do well, because Matt Spurk's a great guy. Kraken is an awesome-looking bot.
I love the team.
Love the team.
It even had a mini-bot in the arena.
Yeah, it's a little mini narwhal thingamajig that they had going on in there. It had like a little horn on the front. So Kraken wins on a judge's decision, and now we get one of the little filler segments of the episode. It's because now that they've moved on to 2 hours, they have to pad stuff out with some vignettes. And
I'm okay with this, because it breaks up the monotony of just fight.
Yeah, and little differences here, maybe some interviews with the robot builders and some testing here. And the first testing video we see is Deep Six in the test box. Oh, dear. Now, if you've never seen Deep Six...
Derp Six.
It's this giant vertical spinning bar that has to be at least 5 feet tall. So, you put it into the they have the team, they have Kelly, was her name? They put it into the test box.
It's not Kelly, it's Jenny. Jenny Taft.
Jenny Taft.
We went through this.
All right. It's they put Deep Six in the test box. First off, this thing almost barely fits in the test box.
Already. Oh, in the words of JonTron, off to a good start already.
And so they start spinning up the weapon, and then Deep Six
it tries to turn, and then boom!
The blade hits the floor, it flings backwards, and then gets stuck on its weapon, and
it
spilled its guts. This is the spill your guts segment. So
and Kelly just analyzed every single piece of debris that came out from it. It was a great segment. I loved the presentation of this.
Yeah.
Because, this is all the parts that flew out of it. This is what each one does.
I do hope we actually get to see Deep Six fight.
Oh, I think we will. Any robot that does that is worthy of being on television.
Yeah, the match probably won't last long, but it's
probably just going to be Derp 6 bouncing around the arena.
Yeah. Speaking of bouncing around the arena, that leads us to our next match. Endgame versus Death Roll.
The Aussies versus the Kiwis.
Yeah, when I saw Death Roll, I noticed they don't have the knife arm.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm thinking, boy, I hope this doesn't lead to them getting stuck on their back. Don't worry, they didn't have to... didn't have any issues with that.
And it's here what we get, the John Reed good hit of the night.
Yeah.
The first hit... Endgame hits Death Roll. Death Roll goes soaring up into the air, falls back onto its weapon, and starts bouncing around the arena like a pinball.
It was, in fact, a Death Roll.
Oh,
this was fun. And
this was a good match.
I love myself a good vertical spinner versus vertical spinner match.
Can I just say this? The spinner versus spinner match has sort of changed. I've sort of changed my tune, because it's like all fun and games until somebody gets that first big hit, but this was very evenly matched to the point.
Yeah, the big difference between the spinner versus spinner matches in BattleBots and Robot Wars is that with BattleBots, all these teams, they know how to build spinner bots, and they know how to defend, and they're used to it. Like, the Robot Wars guys, they went like an entire decade without having any spinners. So when they're crashing into each other, they didn't have that much protection from all those hits.
But this, though, it's just had big hits back and forth, back and forth. Oh! And Endgame, and you know how we said Endgame looks like Aftershock?
Yeah.
It turns out Endgame and Aftershock have something in common.
What's that?
Destroying the arena. First, Endgame did it with that big hit on Son of Waiachi, throwing it into the Lexan barrier where they project the adverts. And then they throw a death roll whose spinner hits like another barrier that goes right up into the ceiling and breaks a light.
As soon as I saw that glass, I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? Was there a breach? Holy shit.
I think they hit a piece of like the barrier, and the barrier was sent up because you see like a little rectangular piece.
Yeah.
I think that was like a part of the ad boards or something.
Yeah, I thought for a moment that was like one of the boards that kept popping off like in the last season.
Oh. I love 2 good hits for one match.
Yes. This would you say this was the best match of the night?
I would have to say yes.
Yeah, because at least it was like a back and forth. Like, yeah, Endgame I think was definitely had the upper hand. And then they got a little too cocky. They ran right into Death Roll's disc. Endgame gets flipped over and is just completely dead. Like, they have a new Shreemech, but the Shreemech's not working. The disc isn't working. It's just a goner.
I'd like to think that either something must have fallen out or the gears that operate the Shreemech must have jammed.
Yeah, it sucks, because Endgame was a black horse?
Dark horse.
Dark horse.
I think you're confusing your farm animal analogies. It's black sheep and dark horse.
Dark pony. So, yeah, like Endgame, it's a strong bot, but they need to work out those kinks, because, like, when they got flipped upside down, the Shreemech just stopped, and, like, I think they just died completely, because the disc wasn't spinning either. Yeah, it sucks, but, hey, Death Roll, I think they've only had, like, one match?
Yeah, one match, and they got decimated by Captain Shredderator.
For America. But at least now they have a win to their name, and I'm happy for them, because they've come all the way from Australia with this thing, and they just go through all this punishment, beating the hell out of each other, and hey, they got a win, and good for them. Yeah, but definitely the best match. It was just pure chaos, this whole match, and I loved it.
Big hits.
Yes. So now we'll move on to... we didn't have any more segments. We move on to Hypershock versus Valkyrie. It's the Herpaderp team versus the Foiled Again team in a battle of Mark Forged. And, I've met both Will Bales and Leanne Cushing. We've had them both on our show.
Yes, we have.
And, they're both great people. Leanne's the captain of the team, and I believe she's the driver as well.
Yeah, she is.
She is. And, Valkyrie's a good bot, but... I don't know what happened, but,
I'd like to think that they got beached on their... It looks like they got beached.
Yeah, but, like Will Bales, he had, really bad luck the last season, only winning one match.
It was very much a rush build,
Yeah.
but this was very much a statement win for Will Bales, and the first step to getting off of our Prove It list.
Yep, and he did that with a huge box rush straight into Valkyrie.
That was so cool!
Yeah.
It's like fighting Bob Sapp.
Yeah.
Jack Finney's gonna pop for that one.
Yeah, just going in, just smacking into Valkyrie. Valkyrie did a crazy pirouette and flipped itself upside down, and then it's just Hypershock just trying to get some hits in.
They were trading blows back and forth, with lots of sound effects added in post.
Yeah.
Just those big little... I understand you add that for dramatic effect, but... I've heard the hits, like, on the live circuit, and as we saw in the Mars effect, like, those hits can be pretty loud. Like, no need for the dramatic post-sound effects, post-production sound effects.
Yeah, Will was just out here to make a statement, and he almost got a little too cocky.
Oh.
Because he's going in to attack Valkyrie, because they're in the corner, the pulverizer's there. They go into attack, and then Valkyrie just starts slicing up the wheels, and it's like, whoa, Will, calm your titties.
Good. Thank goodness for insulated tires.
Yeah.
You saw that?
Yeah, I saw some fluff coming out of the wheels.
They've got insulated wheels, so if they get cut up, they can still go, and that's very smart.
Yeah, it did look like Hypershock was starting to falter at the end there.
It does. 4 seasons in, Hypershock still can't figure out how to go without overheating or burning out its motors.
You need to put a cooling system in there. Get like a big fan. But Valkyrie just stopped altogether. I'm not sure what happened. But Hypershock was still the one moving, and yay, Hypershock finally gets a win.
Hooray!
And then after this match, we got a little promo segment with Will Bales.
Interview with Will Bales.
This is Oscar-worthy material for Will right here.
Honestly, I don't know whether he was just acting or whether the emotions were genuine, but
he was talking. He was mentioning about all the hard work and all the money that he and his friends went through to get Hypershock working. And I do love the part where he says, like, oh, when you spend I spent all my money, but then I can spend all my friends' money too to get this to work.
Good, funny man, that Will Bales. Funny man.
I hope he wins the best team award.
Honestly, the brothers Bales deserve it.
Yes. Yeah, because Will's definitely an entertaining guy, and there's a lot of entertaining stuff to see throughout this episode. Like, remember, I think, was it Death Roll or was it Ribot that had the gator pushing the button, the gator plushie?
That was Death Roll.
That was Death Roll. Yeah, that was adorable. That's one for the best button press.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, but it wouldn't be an episode of BattleBots if we didn't have a bit of controversy, which leads us to Quantum versus Blacksmith.
Ooh. So this is my first time seeing Quantum in action.
Yeah.
And I love it.
It's a gorgeous looking bot.
Oh my god. And it's got I wondered, how's this thing gonna self-right? It's got a little,
it's got
flap at the back.
Yeah, flap at the back, just like it had in King of Bots. Blacksmith
at least has its hammer working.
It works. That's the good news. Problem is, he's once again facing a Razor-esque robot.
I'm starting to think that the problem with Blacksmith isn't that the robot isn't necessarily unreliable. Al Kindle just gets the worst draws ever, because Blacksmith was the perfect opponent for Quantum.
Yeah, and it's like Al said, he put extra thick armor on the top of Blacksmith, AR 500.
And that was your own undoing, Mr. Kindle. Congratulations, you played yourself.
You should have borrowed some Hardocks from the UK guys and stuck it on the top there. Yeah, so here's the story behind this match. So, Quantum is able to get its tooth into Blacksmith and just have its way with it. And apparently, like, there's a rule that you can hang on to your opponent for 30 seconds and you have to let it go. But apparently Quantum was unable to let it go. So they had to go into the arena and separate them.
And they couldn't.
But no, they actually, this happened before. But they cut it out. Because you see that Quantum has got a hold of Blacksmith and is in its claws. Then there's an edit. And then the next thing you see, the two robots are separated. They edited out the part where the bot wranglers had to separate both bots.
Mm-hmm.
And so the match continues. Quantum gets a hold of Blacksmith again, and just buries the claw, the little spike straight through Blacksmith again.
Why did they only have one tooth?
They can have 2 teeth if they want to. I think
it would have worked a lot better if they had 2 teeth, but
I think because the big teeth is bigger, so they can get more of a bite to go through that armor.
Yeah, but Blacksmith just, I think I don't think it's a case of, Quantum being dickish or what have you. I feel that the brothers Cooper they were doing their damnedest to get Blacksmith off of them. Like, they weren't ramming it into the walls or into the screws for extra damage. They were doing it to get it off.
Can you imagine if Razor was still fighting today and something like this happened? Like there's been controversy going through all across the BattleBots Reddit and Facebook and everything saying, "Oh, Quantum cheated. They held onto them and wouldn't let him go."
No, they what?
Here comes the best part. People are burying Blacksmith for having too thick armor. What? How is that considered cheating?
I don't think Al Kindle intended for that to happen.
This... And the reason they ended the match early was because they just couldn't get the bots separated. I remember watching this, and then right when the match is stopped for them to separate and go to the judge's decision, we get a commercial break, and I'm thinking, a commercial in the middle of a match? And then they come back, and then all of a sudden, they've gone right to the judge's decision.
Well, they said that the bots couldn't be safely separated.
This actually reminds me of... I forget which match it was, but there was a Crusher bot that competed in the Franklin Institute event. I think it was Shishka bot versus I forget the name of the General Chomps-a-lot looking one, but they got stuck together and they couldn't separate them at all, so they just ended it there. So this has happened before, and it sucks.
You know, can I just say that when I heard that they went to commercial in the middle of a fight, I thought, oh god, it's Robot Wars on Tech TV all over again.
Yeah, bad times that was.
But
no.
Well, at least it wasn't too intrusive.
No.
But it was more or less a case of, you know, why did they bother? And then they say, oh, well, there's a reason why.
Yeah, they just couldn't get them separated. And hopefully, because watching this match, at least we know that Blacksmith works. So hopefully Al Kindle will have better luck in the 3 matches to come.
Here's hoping you get off the Prove It list, Al.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's all we can say about this match.
Then we got the big pre-main event segment between Don Hudson and Ray Billings.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And Ray's great, and these two have a little history, because... Don Hudson, I think he had a robot called Tooth Canal?
Root Canal
that competed way back, and I think it was a live BattleBots event, I think.
Yeah.
It was one of those live events, and he actually beat Tombstone. So, this was back when Tombstone was kind of a glass cannon. Mm-hmm. Like, it would do damage, but it would always take itself apart.
It still kind of is a a glass cannon.
It kind of is, but
not as bad as it was back then.
No. Yeah, and like Don Hudson's definitely determined to get a third nut. And Ray, he's determined to get some revenge.
Wait. Let me hear that again.
Don is wants to get his third nut. Oh, come on, Nate.
Sometimes you should think before you open your gullet, man.
You should get your mind out of the gutter.
Will you stop?
No. Make me. It's my show. So, Tombstone versus Lockjaw. Lockjaw is a very, when you have a robot that has exposed wheels and you're going up against Tombstone...
Don't bring tires into the arena.
Yeah, but, Don Hudson, he's unpredictable. Like, this is a bot that beat Son of Oyachi.
Only a brick wall could stop you, Don. Its name is Tombstone.
Yeah. And it actually was doing all right.
Yeah, it was, but just, one unlucky turn, one bad turn, and that was it.
A nice double wheelectomy from Tombstone. Yeah, I was kind of hoping he would get the other 2 wheels, but Ray is being a bit of a baby face this season. He wants to...
Oh, come on, Ray.
Well, since there are 4 matches, you don't want to too badly beat up your bot, because,
I think Lockjaw's it's because he spared Don Hudson out of respect.
Yeah. But, the match didn't last long, but it's still great to see Tombstone do some nice damage and just taking out the wheels, so... Yeah, I thought this was fun. And
it was.
And seeing Tombstone go up into the air like that's an awesome visual.
Mm-hmm.
But, Tombstone gets the win, and, Lockjaw... So if we've seen both the Vegas event and this match, I'm not so sure about Lockjaw this season.
I'm not putting them on the Prove It list. If they lose their next fight, then they go on the Prove It list. Same thing with Endgame as well, because we know that Endgame last year got off to a very strong start, and then it sputtered toward the end.
Yeah. But, yeah, that covers the first episode of BattleBots 2019. Tombstone wins the main event.
Lol.
Well, you never know. They might have a fight against Cobalt. You never know what's going to happen. But, yeah, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, all the fights were entertaining. The Quantum versus Blacksmith match was kind of a dud. But, if you excuse that one match, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10.
I would say a 9 too. Like, I wanted to say, I was debating whether I should give it an 8.5, an 8, or a 9, but considering everything else, the screwy finish to the Death Roll endgame fight and the controversy surrounding Quantum Blacksmith aside, this was a great start to the season and definitely worth a 9 out of 10.
Yeah. So, next episode 2, we haven't seen the fight card yet. They haven't uploaded it yet. So
we've seen some preview photos, and I've already got an idea as to who we should have on as guests for that one.
Ooh, be sure to contact them. Mm-hmm. And the bonus fight, Marvin versus Gruff versus Gemini, we'll review that in the next episode as well, after we've seen it on the Science Channel, which is it is at Wednesday at 8 p.m. on the Science Channel. So we're looking forward to that. And we're going to be doing a review of the BattleBots Remars Las Vegas special. That's going to be a Patreon exclusive video. If you want to check it out, follow us on Patreon.
Yeah,
and get an early
as I
preview.
said, we'll do it depending on who our guest is.
Yeah. So until next time, guys, I'm the Hardcore Kid.
I'm Otaku Nate.
Peace out, and it's robot fighting time!
Look out for the train.